You believe you make your own choices. But in truth, most of your opinions were planted long before you called them yours. Not by force, by design. The brands you defend, the movements you applaud, even the original ideas you celebrate. They were guided into place before you ever noticed. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. This is the world Edward Bernays revealed in Propaganda. A blueprint for the invisible systems that shape our every decision. I'm diving in. Right here, on Beyond the Books. Most of the thoughts you call your own were whispered to you long before you knew you were listening. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of human habits and opinions. That, Bernays argued, is the hidden engine of society. It drives politics. It drives business. It even drives the quiet way you see yourself in the mirror. He called it propaganda, not as an insult, but as a precise description of influence as a system. Most imagine propaganda as cheap posters, barking headlines, or wartime slogans. We picture black and white footage of soldiers marching, or grainy commercials selling junk. But here's the first secret. Propaganda isn't a moment. It's a system, a living architecture that arranges your perception, and by doing so, quietly shapes your reality. Look around you. The opinions you hold, the habits you follow, the brands, shows, even the words you use to define yourself. We like to believe these are personal choices, springing from some private, untouched core of self. But watch closely. Every scroll through your feed, every ad in the background at the bus stop, every overheard conversation in a cafe. They are all quiet nudges. 1,000 invisible hands arranging the stage, the cereal box at eye level, the headline that feels urgent, the trending topic you didn't mean to see. Most people think they are browsing freely, when in reality, they are walking paths pre-paved for their attention. Bernays saw what most never notice. Society is not driven by isolated reflection. It is driven by organized persuasion. Understand the levers of the group mind. And you can guide the culture itself, without anyone feeling pushed. Here's the loop. Shape the environment of information. The environment shapes perception. Perception shapes behavior. And because behavior is contagious, behavior reshapes the environment. Consider something as simple as fashion. Why do wide-legged pants suddenly feel modern? Why does a particular sneaker turn into a status symbol overnight? We like to think trends emerge from personal taste, as if millions of minds just happen to agree all at once. But here's how it really begins. A small circle of designers, stylists, and publicists seeds the look. They place it on the right celebrity, in the right photo, on the right social feed. By the time your friend says, "These are kind of cool," your preference has already been scripted. Most taste is memory in disguise. Someone handed it to you, and you called it yours. Here's the part that's hardest to see. Propaganda is self-reinforcing. It doesn't just tell you what to think. It creates the sense that everyone else already thinks it. Picture a new product launch. A few influencers showcase it. A handful of outlets report that people are buzzing. Stores pretend to sell out. Now your friends mention it. You see it in public. Its presence becomes its proof. The system feeds on its own echoes, until a friendly suggestion hardens into social reality. Bernays' deeper insight was this. In a democracy, mass opinion is the only true lever of power. If you want to pass a law, launch a movement, or sell an idea to the world, you must first engineer consent. And consent is never forced. It's built like weather, through 1,000 small signals that make one direction feel like the natural wind. Most people think persuasion happens in speeches or commercials, someone trying to convince you directly. But true propaganda rarely feels like persuasion. It feels like your own idea. Plant a seed in the soil of culture. Let social proof water it, and you will harvest it as your own conclusion. The most effective influence leaves you feeling self-directed, even as you are quietly being guided. Think about public health campaigns. If a government orders citizens to behave differently, resistance rises. But if you see neighbors doing it, if celebrities nod to it, if the environment itself reflects it, the behavior feels like common sense. Your brain trusts what it sees repeated. Repetition isn't just noise, it's proof. Now, zoom out. Bernays didn't frame propaganda as a trick. He saw it as a social operating system. Modern life is too complex to navigate firsthand. There are too many voices, too many choices, too much chaos. So we lean on shared narratives, frames that compress the noise into something we can act on. Propaganda decides which frames rise to the top. It doesn't just sell products or policies. It maps the reality we all agree to live inside. And here's the cost. When you control the frame, you don't need to argue the details. You simply define what counts as obvious. Yesterday's radical becomes today's baseline. Yesterday's taboo becomes tomorrow's campaign. The boundaries of your free thoughts were often drawn before you ever entered the room. Now, connect the dots. Every ad, every trending topic, every viral wave. None of them are isolated. They are nodes in a living network of influence. A network that feeds on attention, emotion, and imitation. We are social mimics by nature. When we see the group move, our nervous system whispers, "Follow." It feels safer. It feels right. Even viral movements follow this quiet blueprint. A meme, a conspiracy, a social cause. It begins in a corner of culture. A small cluster engages. Media notice the trend and report that it is trending. That meta-awareness fuels the loop. Your brain says, if everyone is looking, maybe I should too. Participation starts to feel inevitable. And here's the secret at the center. Propaganda rarely invents desire from nothing. It hijacks real emotions. Belonging, fear, aspiration, pride. It gives your raw energy a pre-built direction. During wartime, a government doesn't just say, "Join the military." It surrounds you with films, posters, songs, and stories. Until enlistment feels like a personal choice. The environment whispers it into your bones. Most of what feels spontaneous in you is a conversation you didn't know you were having with the world. Propaganda isn't always malicious. It's how modern societies stay coherent. With millions of people and infinite streams of data, we need shared shortcuts to decide what matters. But those shortcuts are leverage points. Control the frame, and you choreograph the dance of collective life. The truth is simple. We don't live outside propaganda. We live through it. It is the water we swim in, the architecture that shapes attention, the invisible hand that makes some choices feel natural, and others impossible. Bernays didn't invent the system. He simply turned on the light. Because once you see the currents, you start to understand. Every spontaneous opinion, every viral surge, every wave of outrage or support is part of an ecology of influence. And in that ecology, awareness is the only form of freedom. The real power of influence isn't out there. It's in the moment you stop letting invisible hands steer your choices. Right now, write down one belief you've never questioned and ask, who taught me this? And why did I accept it? That single question begins the shift. From being persuaded to being aware. Share the belief you chose in the comments. I want to see your first break from the script. Like this video. Subscribe to Beyond the Books. And if there's a book you want to truly understand, tell us below. This is where readers become thinkers.